Alright lads and lasses, welcome along. Something for the weekend here. Got myself a new home, everything's starting to look hunky-dory. Honestly, it's all coming together. It's feeling great. I think we're the champion. I wanted to pick something new today. Starting a new course, and it's a 4-week period we're going to do these data sets. Found a nice new data set. Never really looked at it before. Just picked it out. And I thought, right, I'm going to have a little bit of a session today, just exploring it with you. And then we'll go through a bit more and what will happen. Aye. So what have we got to start with? So I found this rooftop drinking water tank inspection results from New York City. Everyone's seen them in the movies, haven't they? Looking at New York City, you got them little like big tanks, haven't you? And invariably, if there's something going on, then one of them gets blown up or something, doesn't it? You know, it covers everyone in water. But them drinking water tanks obviously need to be inspected, don't they? So, data set I found from the city in New York themselves. I thought, perfect. Let's have a look at that. Something different, you know, blow the cobwebs away. So over the 4 weeks, we'll have a proper look, proper deep dive into this. And the aim is for this week, we're just going to have a quick deek-sees at the data set. Let's have a look at it. You know, what's going on with it, what's roughly it look like. Bearing in mind, most of these are probably going to be something like a spreadsheet, CSV or something like that. Certainly for these first few data sets with the kind of want to help you get your head around it. But let's start simple, I think. Right? We want to have an explore of it. Key thing I want you to think about from today is really, how would I tackle this data set? What's the right thing to do with it? How can I best understand what's going on with it? And the other thing I want you to really start to think about, and that we'll start to do as we define our first plan, is that we're thinking in terms of a tabular data model now, not in terms of what's going to make this look good and what's going to be easy to fill out in Excel. It becomes a tabular data set. So there's some big differences, and this data set's got some real head turners in there. But it's dead simple, I reckon. Once we start to crack into it and move on, you'll find it's like, oh man, this is great, this is dead easy. So we'll have a look at it, but be warned, that's all I'm going to say. Week 2, we're actually going to model it, so that's where we're going to act out our plan. Yeah, so this week's going to be kind of looking at the data a bit, working out roughly what we're going to do. Week 2, let's push that all together. Jam them tables in, make it all look good, figure out what we're going to need, and it'll all be there. Be great. Week 3, let's start doing some DAX development on it. So let's put some measures on, make it look good, put some great visuals in it. It's going to look, be brilliant. I tell you, honestly, be like fantastic. Fantabby-dozy, as they say, And then week 4, we'll start talking about actually, how does it look in the service? You know, what's the service going to do for us with it? How do we manage the refresh of it? Is there an improvement cycle we can actually use with it? How do we bring more insights into it? How can we extend this data set? How can we make more of it? So we'll do that in week 4. And I think between that, it's going to give you a really good grounding of kind of actually what's Power BI all about and what's the real point of it. Yeah? Sounds like a good idea to me, that. Let's crack on, So as far as this data set's concerned, it's just one of these ones from data.world. You need to sign into data.world. In this case, I've just signed in with my Google account, Gmail account. You know, we have Geordie Intelligence account. Here we are. Bosh, signed in. Brilliant, innit? From here, and I'll put this link in the video so that you've got it, and I'll always make sure it's available for the whole of this data set 4 tutorial set. But have a look at it. It's going to be dead easy for you to actually get your heads around what's going on with this. Because what happens in here, you can see it's all there. This is it as a CSV file, so you can download it from there and open it. Let's have a Blue Peter moment. I've done that already. Let's crack on, open the spreadsheet. Where's my mouse gone? There we go. So we'll see what's actually happening now in the spreadsheet. Alright, so there's lots of columns in it, lots of things they're doing, so clearly there's lots of testing happening on lots of these sites. And we can see there's lots of yes-no questions to it, lots of yes-no things, elements to it. We can see we've got lab names here. Tell you what, let's do something with this. Let's hit a Control-T. Those of you used to Excel, probably most of you, man. Convert that into a table, right? And then you can have a look at this. Dead simple little trick with this. So open that up. What are the unique values that we've got in there? And straight away I'm starting to see we've got a common issue. Now this, you do out with data, you do anything, this is always going to come up, isn't it? So whoever's filling this out, you've got a free text field and you've just got different spellings, haven't you? You've got ambient group inc, ambient group inc dot, ambient group comma inc, and yeah, they're not going to be the same company, aren't they? You know, is Ambient Labs the same company? It might well be. I've not really got much way of telling that, but you know, we'd certainly need to look at some of these. So one of the things we might want to end up having to do is create a kind of a good lookup table. And I'm sorry to say, there's no easy ways of doing that within Power BI that I've found yet, because I was thinking through it, going, oh, we can do these formulas, we can do this, we can do that. And you've seen, if I've written stuff in the past where you can put in like a nice M function, we could try that, strip out all the punctuation, remove all the spaces, and just have like a lowercase text string, and then see what's unique there. And that might be the route we go, because that'll pull back certainly the vast majority of the ones that are like similar. But where you've got things like this, Upton Plumbing Inc., you're stuck with them. You know, it might be worth it if we removed ink at the end of words or something like that. I might have a look and see what I can do, if I can figure out a nice way to do that. But fundamentally, text editing like that, those kinds of things, they're never really 100% perfect. Yeah, you're going to come back and you're going to find, well, you know, it's not been great, there's been issues with it, so have a think if that's necessarily the way you want to go, yeah? So we'll have to figure something out with these columns, these inspected by firms. Have to figure something, make it work. I can see from the date column there for the inspection date, I'm willing to bet cash money that's going to be a key column that we're going to want to be able to work with and analyse. Put my teeth back in, right? But the way that's looking, I reckon we're going to have problems with a US date format. So we'll have to split that out, split it up into 3 columns and then mash them back together again. But you've seen how to do that many times. Should be second nature to you all by now. But we'll go through it all, make sure everyone's comfortable with it. And obviously we've got all these yes no columns as well. So we'll have to have a figure out and see which ones of those are important. See, we've got the labs that are dealing with it, so labs is probably sensible as well. So we'll look at some of the labs. Might need to do similar things with the labs, so what we've got to do with the firm doing the inspections. Again, all the stuff that normally goes through. And then you can see, oh, hey, we've got latitude and longitude. Fantastic. And then we've got like an NTA. I don't know what that is. New York something. Probably some municipal thing. I'll have a look into that for next week. Figure that out. And batch date, I think, is only one. Yeah, there's one column there, or one value. So that's just probably when was this extracted. So what we've got is we've got a really clear set of data that we're going to need to work through and hack up and make look good. And I think it's going to be really good, and there's some really nice things that we can do within here to really understand what we can do with data. One of the things I've done as well, just to help with the work exploring, is I've just loaded it into Power BI just as is. Haven't done anything with it, just loaded it into Power BI. I've written one measure, just a records measure. Now this is just kind of good practice in my mind. Always writing these, useful to have them around. It's a count rows measure. So all it is you want to count the rows in the table. Yeah, nothing special, right? You can do this with Excel spreadsheets. By the time this is built though, that count rows won't work, right? And I'll tell you why in a minute. So we've got what count rows, but that's really what I want, because I want to be able to have a look and see the shape of the data, what's kind of happening with it. So one of the things I had a look, just looking through here, what catches the eye when you're going through here. So we've got air vents, we've got all these kinds of things. Oh, rodents, birds, oh, hey man. Oh, it's a bit of a worry, isn't it? I suppose it's, you know, that's one of them things, isn't it? Hey, we've got some on the roof. You know, there's a bird in it, man. Oh, a nightmare. Something, you know, hopefully not a rat's died in it. That's, oh, hey, E. coli. That's brilliant. Let's see, what happens if we bring E. coli onto the map, Let's drag that onto the map. I should say, this map, I've just got the latitude, longitude. The size of the dots is just the number of records that we've got. E. coli. So straight away, someone I can see here, if we went to Manhattan, which is where we seem to see most of them, I'm going to test my knowledge of New York now. Let's see if there's an easier one to see here. Brooklyn. So we can see there, that dot there, it's in half, isn't it? So what that means is that each dot that we've got, so presumably each house, or each location, each water tower, is going to have multiple inspections. So if we had an assumption, well, it's going to be one inspection for each of these things, isn't it? Well, we now know that's wrong. So we're going to have multiple inspections for each location, which is fine, but it's something to be considerate of. So what it means is we need to think through, how's this going to work? What's this going to look like? And the results, presumably, for any particular inspection or any site are going to be different as well. So it's really important that we start thinking through, how's that going to work? Right, now, bearing in mind that we've said, oh, we're going to have lots of inspections in different places. Is there anything that we need to be aware of? Is there else in the data set that we could think of, oh, hey, something's maybe not right? So if we could look, let's see, I've put a year slicer on. Let's see, is everything going across year by year? Oh, hang on. 2017, 2018, we know that dies off, so probably it's only really 3 years worth of data there. But did you see what happened there? So 2017, if we drop back to 2016, do you see that in the top right? That's a bit worrying, that, isn't it? Something's going on. What district is that in? Is that in Queens? No. Is it Brooklyn? Bronx. Right, the Bronx. So we've got something here, but I guess we need to figure out what that is, don't we? So there's ways we could do that, but we can clearly see there's this one place has had 13 inspections of water in a year, and that's kind of, it's a bit worrying. 2015 as well, it's had 5. So something's going on there, and that's going to be something. So potentially what we've got here as well is that, do we need to be able to flag up locations that are having more than X inspections in a year? So potentially we've got an inspection number that we need to get so that we have a record for an inspection, and then a way to analyze an inspection along with its date and with its values, and actually start to really shape what we're going to have. So you're starting to get a picture now of what the way it goes, how we start to think through a data problem. So we've got our data, we're now starting to think, right, what's the visualization requirements for this? What's the customer going to want to see? And in this case, we'd be saying, well, who's our customer? So there's multiple levels for these kinds of things, isn't there? Those of you that know me, used to work with us, you'll know, we're talking about senior management all the time. Explain it all in words, one syllable and less, for senior management to easily understand. There's lots of logic behind it, right? And it's not about, senior management aren't very intelligent. It's about, if your visual has to be explained, it's not doing a good job. So whatever we're going to show, we need to show effectively to our management. Because we might look at this and say, hang on, why has Manhattan got so many more inspections than Brooklyn's or Bronx or Queens? There might be good reason for it. There might be that, well, actually 95% of the actual water towers, rooftop water towers, are in Manhattan. It might be something else. Alright, so we're starting to figure it out now, aren't we? Getting our heads around what we're going to need to do to figure this out. Last thing I want to do is, obviously, I still need to do some work on the dates. We've said that already. But one of the things you can do when you're in this stage and doing a bit of data exploration is you can actually use the tools of Power BI to date. So if we have a quick look, a quick gander around here, I've put the dates in here and I've done like a month, year column version of a chart here, just with our records. So how many scans are we doing, or how many inspections have happened year on year, month on month. Here we can see, I think it's all fairly standard. There's nothing really out there that's, really drawing my eye to it and thinking, there's an issue here, there's something there. It's all pretty standard stuff, but knowing that the dates are wrong as well, and this isn't a full set of the data, is it? What you could do though, if we had done this already and we'd got the dates sorted out right, we'd be able to pull this in, and you can actually use some of the tools in here. So we can say, well, look, explain this increase to me. We can choose analyze, explain the increase, and Power BI will go away and have a think about actually what's happened there to make that be different. And you can see in here some of the stuff that it's saying. You go, oh, hang on, that might be quite insightful. A lot of this stuff, well, less concerned about, I'll be honest. Days of the week here, some stuff seems to be happening more on Fridays, Thursdays, that kind of thing. Is it an issue? Not an issue? I don't know, man. Not at the point of saying, I care enough about things like that. But what you'll find is there are some interesting things about here. So the actual firm involved, there's a big increase in this. This ESML as a lab has suddenly been doing much more business there. So up 67 compared to the previous month. So that's quite a big uptick when you've got 204 scans or tests that were run, like inspections that were run. 67 of them have been done by this company. So that's significant, I think. So there are things in there that you look at and go, oh, all right, that's useful, that is. And you can then add them to your chart. So we can always click and say, well, I want to add this to my page. This means something to me. Let's go back to this one here. Let's have a look at that one. I think that kind of shows it better. You see them way off there, way up from where you'd expect them to be. So we'll add it to the page, hit that plus, scans in there. Tell you what, let's put it on a new page on its own. So it's dead easy. You can just click on the visual, Control C to copy it, click on a new page, and Control V to paste it. And there's my visual. I can make it bigger, I can resize it, I can even change it. So straight away, I'm actually starting to go, right, I understand what's happening here. But this is looking at the previous month versus that new month. But it's good to be able to understand that. That's the key thing, isn't it? So we've done that, we've got our heads around it, we're starting to move forward. Right, I had a look at this, and roughly I think this is kind of the way it's going to shape out. Yeah, excuse me ham-fistedness with me drawings, it's not, not my strong suit. What we want to have is what key inspection table, and I reckon these are the core areas that we're going to be wanting to inspect around. I reckon there's going to be some geography stuff in there. You're never going to get away with it without doing it. So that's probably also going to be in there. So we'll probably have that NTR or whatever it was, NTC. The latitude, longitude in that inspection. But that's all that stuff that's going to be in there. Next, we're going to break that down and we're going to have the calendar. We're going to have a calendar table there. The inspection stuff, I'll have to have a look at it because we'll have to figure out the right way to do a geography dimension, I think, for it, and I'm not sure at this point how best to stitch it all together, but that's why I'm saying, lat long might go in there, but I'd rather it doesn't. We'll have a look at that. But then if you remember, we're looking at those requirements and those results, so presumably at some point you're saying, oh, I want to test for this, I want to test for that, this needs that, and I'm not sure at this point if they need to be separate or if they need to be together. But basically, if we add an inspection ID, so basically give each row a unique ID, what we can do is we can create a sub-dimension for each from the fact table, and that will have effectively give us the ability to go and filter and say, right, well, I want to see E. coli tests, I want to see that there's sediment tests needed out like that, yeah. So that'll help with that, and then we'll be able to check out the results. And at the moment, I'm reckoning they're going to need to be split in two, and we'll see at the end of next week's session if it did need to be split in two, or if it was something when we looked at it, it just made sense to do as one. Yeah. But the key thing, what I want you to be thinking through with this is, hey, we've started off with one CSV file, and already we're talking about 4 tables coming out from there. The calendar table's separate, man. It's got to be separate. You know what I've always said, keep a calendar table in your back pocket, know where one is. So we'll dust that one off, that bad boy off again. We'll get our calendar table back in. We might even look at adding a few things to our calendar table, but a good calendar table, it's hard to find, man. So once you find one, stick to it. So I'll show you that one. We'll get into that again. We'll go through our requirements, we'll go through our results, we'll figure out a geography set, because that's again going to be the thing. But once we've got, it's one of them where, with an inspection ID, potentially we could do it. I need to have a proper think through it, but that's kind of the mindset that we have. So start me day, start me Power BI development, that's kind of where we're going with, yeah. Kind of that back of a fag packet drawing, rough sketch out, is where it's going to go. all that's normally in my head. So yeah, hope you're not going to go into the data world, download the data, have a crack at it, see what you can figure out. I reckon it's going to be some, really exciting times going through this. It's going to be very different to what I'm normally doing, and I hope you're going to enjoy it, and I hope you're going to see some real value in it, because it's going outside what you'd normally be doing. Stay home, stay safe everyone, yeah, and I hope you're all taking care of yourselves. It's a great weekend. We've had some rain arrive finally. My garden's not looking quite as brown and horrible as it was earlier in the week. Might even be able to save some of my plants. Take care, and I'll catch you all next week. Ta-da.